Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. To have you seen this? It's been years. It has been years. You look much, much older, Dave.
Yes, Rob, I haven't seen you in many
Gee
moons.
whiz. Holy shit.
sorry. That was
Oh, yeah. Oh,
just had a little something in my
some,
throat.
some in your throat there. Uh, Me personally, I think I look, hey, what's up, Matt? I look about, I don't know, 10 years younger? Maybe 15 years younger.
One of these days you have to teach me the secret of reverse aging because you have mastered it.
I drink a lot and I don't sleep. That
You know,
always works out
if you
well.
go over the threshold, it just goes back the other way. You live so unhealthily that it just passes over into healthy.
Speaking of so unhealthily, how are you feeling, Dave?
A lot better. I've been sick. With Angel has fallen with the vid until recently. Got it while I was on vacation. So, but now I'm much better. So that's exciting, and I have returned to full force to bring the TV happening with you guys. Luckily, the 2 weeks that we took off, not much TV happened.
Is there even a TV anymore? Is there TV if we can't talk about it? Oh boy.
Taco, we're probably going to be talking about it in like 30 minutes if you want to come on.
Mm. We'll talk about it at some point. Wait, did that air?
Were we supposed to? There were a couple episodes of that Dragon show.
Was I supposed to? Oh, brother. I was too busy watching cooking shows.
That's all you ever watch these days, Rob.
They're pretty good. That's all I'm allowed to watch. If the wife decides we're watching the friggin' cooking show, that's what I gotta watch. By the way, new season of Beat Bobby Flay coming soon to Food Network Canada.
Oh, exciting stuff.
It is.
All right.
They beat him.
I hope so too. I don't know who they are or what they're beating him at because I famously don't watch cooking shows, but
it's basically the Running Man where they take hardened criminals, and if they can beat Bobby Flay in a cooking contest, they're set free.
They're set free.
Yeah. Wait, if not, they're taken to the back and killed.
Is that the actual premise of the show?
It is. That's what I've gathered. I never made it to the end. I've always just fallen asleep.
All right, we'll report back on that.
We'll see. Maybe one day I'll fall asleep at the beginning and wake up at the end, and it'll kind of be a full circle.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think anybody survives.
No. But so, Rob, other than cooking shows, what have you been watching, or has there been any news that you want to talk about before we get to the 75 shows that are now airing?
We should probably talk some news. I'm sure everybody put everything on hold while we were waiting and stuff, while we were away, just hoping and praying that one day we'll come back so we can talk about it, but there probably wasn't much. One thing, before we start, I know this happened a while ago. This happened, almost a month ago. How long have we been off? How long have you been?
3 weeks. I had it bad.
Oh boy. Oh brother. I wonder how you got it. It's weird. I want to talk. Quick shout out to Roger E. Mosley. If you whippersnappers watching today don't know who Roger E. Mosley is, that's fine. He's really only known for one role, but it was a big role when I was a little kid. He was Magnum PI's helicopter flying one of his best friends, TC, on Magnum PI. When I was a kid, when we had cooler toys, we had cool toys. I won't say cooler. It's all in perspective. They used to make like Matchbox vehicles. They had one for like the Batmobile and the A-Team van and all this stuff. The coolest one they ever did was TC's helicopter, and it was in a set, I believe, with Magnum's Ferrari. And I used to pretend that you could shoot machine guns out of the helicopter, which they never did. They just went from point A to point B, which is actually kind of lame. But I guess you got to get around the Hawaiian Islands somehow. And TC was the man to do it. So I just didn't want another day to go past without saluting the great Roger E. Mosley, 83 years old. I couldn't believe it.
Hell of a life.
83 years old. I think you figured he'd be about 35, 36. I only saw him when I was a kid. Which is only a very few years ago.
Just a few years ago. I am not one. Was he just an actor, or was he an actual pilot as well?
I'm pretty sure he was just an actor.
All right. Well,
I have 100% confidence they didn't say, "Can you act?" Yes. Can you helicopter pilot? I can figure it out. They say,
first of all,
you get the job, Roger.
First of all, you don't know. In the world that I grew up in,
That's
Tom
true.
Cruise is jumping out of airplanes and climbing up the tallest buildings in the world. These people do things. So who knows? And you know what? Also,
in the world I grew up in, Roger E. Mosley made $175 a week doing that television show, and he was happy to get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good deal of money. That's a great deal of money back then, 1978.
But always sad when. So was he a series regular on there? Was he?
Yeah. He was like there was the three buddies. There was Magnum, there was TC, and of course Larry, who owned the bar. And they were always seemingly at the bar. Not good news if you're a passenger on TC's helicopter, I guess. Seeing how he spent that morning drinking. But they never had a special episode or anything like where
Don't
TC
drink and fly, kids.
Yeah, TC accidentally dunked the plane or whatever, lost a couple of guys. They never had to solve that mystery.
No.
Or maybe that's when they covered up. Higgins had a lot of money.
Were they dirty?
They would have had to been. Those guys were alcoholics. They were problem drinkers. Not like me, who does it for success.
Oh boy. Yeah. I should watch that show. I should get myself educated one of these days.
You know what? I believe you can watch it for free on the CTV app here in Canada.
Oh, the CTV app, home of.
You got everything on that thing for some reason. You just have to watch a commercial every now and then.
Well, that sucks. That's why.
It's terrible.
That's why people are moving away from cable, and why streaming's finally been able to overtake them since we've been off.
I can't tell you. I think the only show. There's only one show I think I watch on. Well, two shows. I'll watch on network television these days. The only reason I have the cable still to this day is just so I can watch live sports. That's it. I can get everything else probably everywhere, including like if I wanted to, I could get like Global and all that stuff from Prime and stuff like that. It cost me $8 a month or whatever it is. Who cares about that? That's fine. But yeah, that's the only reason is because the cost of cutting cable would be supplemented by the cost of getting Sportsnet and TSN together. Yeah, that's the problem. So you keep the cable just for that until they slash the prices on the sports, but they want to pay $1.5 billion for NHL coverage for some friggin' reason. So that's why I have to pay for cable, because I don't want to pay that much for goddamn Sportsnet online. Not worth it. Plus, this way I get to see the occasional cooking show.
Yeah, for sure.
But they have the cooking show. They have the cooking show on that app. So I just, corrected myself, I guess. God damn it. What's the use?
What is the use?
How is Netflix not making money? There's more people watching now than ever before. Are they just sinking their money into shit?
I think it's stuff like, we don't talk, I don't know how, this is a TV show, so I don't know how much we need to get into it. But we
don't care about the movies.
I think that's the issue. I think the thing is they're sinking like $150 million into things like The Gray Man, which Rob, outside of me saying it right now, when was the last time you heard the words The Gray Man?
I've watched it in these 3 weeks that we've had off. I said, you know what? I haven't watched in a long time any kind of movie. So I decided, well, I'm going to spend some time catching up on movies. So I watched The Gray Man, And oh boy.
And in one ear, out the other, right? Like if I asked you anything about the plot, probably nothing.
One guy wants to kill the other guy for the government.
Okay.
Look, I retain quite a bit. And listen, this is done by the Russo brothers. And of course, I love the Russo brothers, two of my all-time favorite comedies directed by the Russo brothers. Can you name them?
The paintball episode of Community.
Sure.
That's it.
Oh, they also did quite a bit of work on Arrested Development.
Ah!
Love it. I love it. Except, it didn't end great, maybe, but it's still good to. They still had some pretty good parts. That last season was better than that fourth season where everybody was apart.
But I think it's stuff like that. It's definitely not like the TV and things that is why Netflix is still losing money. It's everyone has it, but everyone also has their sister's ex-boyfriend's Netflix account that they've been using for 10 years. And as much as they try to crack down on streaming and sharing passwords and stuff, they just haven't been able to. So it's just stuff like that, and also sinking $500 million into the Gray Man.
Yeah, and they want to make sequels.
Oh boy, yeah.
There's going to be a Gray Man universe. They're going to have like the Beige Man, the
don't
taupe,
do that.
The taupe. Man.
I already saw that movie. It was called Reservoir Dogs. It was perfect.
Oh, brother, so many swear words.
Too many.
That's odd.
I know. But yeah, but it is still big for Netflix to have, and not just Netflix, but streaming to finally have completely eclipsed the cable. There we go.
Yeah.
Still got the vid brain,
So this is not just like a network television. This is networks. This is HBO. This is ESPN. This is the whole bit.
Yeah, and I think that really is indicative of where streaming is going, because I think the shows we cover and we'll be covering today in a little bit, those are all streaming shows. Like we talk about Big Brother, but I feel like
you watch more streaming Big Brother than you do.
That's fair. That is very fair. I do watch a lot more streaming Big Brother than I do actual Big Brother.
100%.
But most of the tentpole shows that come out that we talk about, whether it's Stranger Things or House of the Dragon, or I was going to say Game of Thrones, but that's not on right now, or She-Hulk, or Squid Game. Like all of these shows they're streaming exclusives. They're not network exclusive, so it makes sense. And we will be talking about House of the Dragon in just a little bit.
Yeah. We haven't seen each other for a while. He was deathly ill.
I was deathly ill.
From a mystery ailment.
Mystery illness. But I think that's just why they're able to overtake them. Like, what are people going to cable for other than live sports, which that's got to be on its way. I think they're just waiting for a bunch of contracts to expire, and then all that stuff's gonna be put on. There's gonna be a massive bidding war between YouTube TV and
it's already coming.
Yeah.
Thursday Night Football is going to be exclusively for Prime Video now.
Mm-hmm.
Apple has their Friday night package for baseball, where it doesn't take every game on Friday. I think it just selects a game for some reason, but I'm sure that'll expand.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, so everything is going to end up going to your friendly neighborhood streaming service. Tell you what, I figured out how Netflix can get their money back instead of paying $500 million for Gray Man 2, Turquoise Man.
Mm-hmm.
Just give $500 so we can get more Nailed It.
Oh my God. Apparently Nicole Byers does actually, I saw her on some interview thing. Apparently she's not a huge fan of Nailed It.
She has to eat shit.
Yeah, that's probably. Yeah.
No kidding, she doesn't like it. She'll like a nice big fat paycheck.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Give her more money so we can get more Nailed It, and make sure you have egg-free ones. So we get more Jason Mantzoukas on the show, and just
Yes.
get whatever. Yeah, pay the money. Pay the money. That's where it's coming from. It's gonna win the Emmy this year. Shockingly,
I know.
God damn it! I hope it happens. That would
I
be
hope so
amazing.
too. I really do. Anyway, we is there any other big news you want to get to, or do you want to talk about She-Hulk and then we got House of the Dragon?
Let's talk She-Hulk first.
Which, by the way, well, yes, let's talk She-Hulk first, because if you check Messenger, we have someone who might be interested in coming on to talk House of the Dragon.
Oh boy, I never check out anything. All right, all right. Let's talk She-Hulk, because you were right.
What was I right about?
You were right about they're nailing it from the comic perspective. Her going to camera and stuff like that, and breaking the fourth wall. And I love the way they're doing it. I'm loving She-Hulk so far. Now, I don't know if I like it as much as, say, Ms. Marvel yet, but I really do enjoy She-Hulk. Is this what you expected when we were talking about it? Like, you were the one who was talking to me about, like, she's going to break the fourth wall, she's going to do all this stuff. Is this what you expected?
It's actually a lot more than I expected, because with She-Hulk, what I really am liking so far is it's giving a very different perspective than I would have expected it to, because we've had so many like 45-minute episodes of TV shows and stuff, whether it was Moon Knight or even Miss Marvel and everything. Everyone was in there that like 38 to 53-minute mark for every episode. But this one, like, I feel like commercials run like 30 minutes into the She-Hulk episodes. And I think that's really making them hit the ground harder and not waste as much time. It's not I'm not on the floor laughing because it's the funniest show, but I have a smile on my face the entire time.
Yeah.
And I always even on Orphan Black, I could never remember her name. What is She-Hulk's name?
Tatiana Maslany?
Yes, there we go.
Regina's favorite daughter?
I know. I'm sorry. Another good Canadian kid.
Never apologize for anything from Regina.
Yeah, the prairies, you know. But I am a big fan of hers. I think she is killing it, and I didn't think I would like her as much when she wasn't She-Hulk, but I really like, and I know they're basically the same person, but I really am a big fan of her as Jen and her running around as She-Hulk.
Yeah, 100%. What did you think of the origin story? I like how they did it fast or whatever. The origin bit was done real fast. What do you think of the way they did it with this one?
See, I love it because of what I think it is setting up. Because so she needs to get in the comics, she needs to get a blood transfusion from her cousin Bruce. And it's like, I feel like Bruce wouldn't do that because, like, that's messed up.
That's exactly. Yeah, he is a doctor. He knows what
he
will
knows
happen, or has a very good possibility of what will happen.
But so I really liked it being involved in, and it was an accident that had happened. I think that origin setup makes a lot more sense than the comics, and it's interesting. In the comics, it's all often alluded to that She-Hulk is as strong, if not a little bit stronger than the Hulk, but because she has her humanity about her, she is always pulling her punches. So it is interesting that they went that route immediately with all the blood stuff. But what I loved about her origin was they say it was a ship from Sakaar, which was the Gladiator planet from Thor Ragnarok, and then in episode 2, Hulk's going to space. So I'm like, are they setting up like Planet Hulk?
Oh yes,
Planet Hulk, then because originally I thought that
do you think Scar is gonna? You think Scar is coming?
I thought that Scar was gonna be on that ship, but then Hulk's now leaving. So I'm like, are they setting it up? But then and there's those few weird open dates in the Marvel schedule that everyone was like, oh, that's gonna be like X-Men and stuff. And I'm like, they called it Kang Dynasty and they called it Secret Wars, but they didn't say Avengers 5 and 6. Like, we all said that, but what if one of those empty dates is World War Hulk?
And it's before something that could happen before the multiverse is over because of what Hulk does to people.
Yeah, like Hulk, you could make Hulk like the Ultron of this phase, where like Loki.
Would it be Hulk or would it be that old Hulk, that old white Hulk,
like Maestro?
Maestro, who just keeps getting angry and angry.
It would be interesting. I think the interesting thing is they can't do a Hulk movie. So
I was about to say, but are they allowed to do any of this?
No, they can do.
Or they do the same thing they do, like with the Spider-Man, I guess, right?
I think they would have to do this. I think it's different because
profit sharing and stuff. No.
Yeah, I think Universal's less willing to play ball than Sony, because Sony needs the money. Universal does not.
Poor Sony. Poor down on their luck. Sony Entertainment.
So I think if anything, it would end up being like it would be a Scar. It's interesting. I don't actually know, because the fact that they're doing She-Hulk tells me that it's not the same as the Spider-Man situation.
Right.
So I don't know where the rights end and where they begin. Like, would they have to do it like it's a Silver Surfer show? I don't know. But anyway, I really like the origin. That's a long way of saying I liked her origin. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. I do like how she explains how she can keep it together better and stuff like that. Or she talks about how she's had to keep it together her entire life and stuff like that through catcalls and everything else. I really enjoyed that part. I really didn't understand how Titania was there for like 1 second.
Did you catch in the second episode why she was there?
Is it because she was in the next courthouse over, and it was all that was an accident or something like that?
She was fleeing from traffic court.
Oh, right.
Just like the most mundane thing that you could possibly try. Like, it was a speeding ticket that got her. It'll be interesting to see, because she's a big actor. Like, do you just cast her for those 5 seconds?
Yeah, no kidding.
Probably not, right?
Well, and considering how Titania is one of She-Hulk's major adversaries in the comics and stuff like that, she's got to come back. She's got to do something. She's got to get angry about something.
She's gotta, but at the same time, though, I would love if this, because I feel like even with stuff like Ms. Marvel, and especially things like Moon Knight, I was thinking to myself all the time, but like, where do the superpowers happen? When do the superpowers? This, I found myself at the end of episode 2 being like, if it just went and like they deal with the Abomination in the next episode and like they figure all that shit out, and then after that it's just Law and Order for 30 minutes and it's just a total legal show, because we know Daredevil's coming at some point. So like, if we just get one episode that it's just Matt Murdock, I would rather see her go up against Matt Murdock than Daredevil. So I'm I would love to, if there's no more fighting, not a single punch is thrown, and it's just legal stuff.
Yeah, that would be fine. I'm also in for the villain of the week sort of thing as well, where they can take some of their low grade villains or whatever, throw them in there every week or whatever, just have them in the office kind of a thing as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of things they can do, and they have 7 more episodes. I think it's a 9-episode run for the series.
It was something like that, yeah.
Yeah, they have lots of time they can do this. Also, one other thing, what did you think of what do you think of the CGI now that you see it on the show?
Looks great. I think I talked to a friend about Sorry, I talked to a friend about this. It was a one of the lead animators on the show had discussed why it was easier to criticize the She-Hulk CGI model is because like for you look at Hulk and he's got like all that stubble that you can use to like hide how smooth his face actually is and stuff.
Right.
But when you look at She-Hulk, because she's not allowed to have all those like imperfections and stuff, just because of the messed up way that we expect women to look in media. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but by the end of episode 2, I was like, it looks totally fine, and I like it.
Yep, don't even notice. I never even noticed anymore. I've got wrapped up in the show. I've never noticed anything wrong with the CGI. And I thought when we first saw those trailers, that's of course, that was one of the guys that was like, "Oh, I don't know about this." But yeah, don't even know. You'd never notice.
Yeah, I
Especially
really
the
like
second
it.
episode. Yeah.
Oh my god! By the way, in the maybe the best line Marvel has ever put out is when I forget the guy's name, when he comes in with the like gift basket and is like, I also work at the superhuman legal department.
Oh yes,
I've got
yes.
staplers and sticky notes, and here's a map to the best bathroom for pooping. I was like, that's very important when you go to a new job because you don't just go to the first one.
Is a hero. That guy might be the biggest hero at the superhero law agency.
Not all heroes wear capes, Rob. And that guy, he's going to be. I don't know who he is because I didn't catch his name and I didn't go back to look. But that guy's going to be a bad guy at some point. He's going to be like,
oh, really?
Oh, that guy's going to. He's going to be. He had a weird accent. He's going to be a bad guy. Yeah, he's going to be like one of the wrecking crew or something.
Ooh.
I guess that's a Thor bad guy, so probably not.
It could be anybody's bad guy.
Yeah, that's going to be like, what's an obscure Marvel villain? Look at my Funkos. See if I got anybody weird.
Oh boy, here we go.
That's going to be MODOK.
Didn't they? Is it? Oh no, MODOK's coming.
Oh yeah, MODOK's going to be in
Ant-Man. MODOK's going to be Ant-Man.
That's right. It's going to be.
It's going to be a movie.
Yeah, that's a movie. We don't talk about movies here.
Do they even show movies anymore?
I don't think they do.
You know what I mean?
But what are your hopes for the rest of the season going forward? And also, how did you feel about getting Tim Roth back?
I loved it. And I love it's Tim Roth at his most Tim Rothy and stuff too. I like him much better as Emil Blonsky. I loved the cliffhanger they left when they showed Abomination fighting in that Shang-Chi or whatever when they was fighting in that pit. I love how he keeps talking about his soulmates and stuff. His
seven soulmates and the haikus he wrote.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just thinking ahead to Thunderbolts and like who's the other as is the Thunderbolts rounded up. Anyways, that's going to be a movie too. But hopefully they show up. Hopefully they can show up here in She-Hulk. Especially maybe we can get some Julia Louis-Dreyfus now.
Oh, I think she'll definitely show up at the end being like, I'm assembling a secret team.
Yeah, or have a feeling that Blonsky is going to lose his case, but it isn't going to matter because the government's going to pardon him to go into this thing or something.
Oh, really? See, I think he's going to win.
I have a feeling.
I think he's going to win his
Shield's
case.
Going to win. Okay.
But then he's going to be like, they're going to tell him, yeah, but you've also been in Supermax prison for the last 15 years. You definitely can't get a job. And it's like, and then Julia Louis-Dreyfus is going to show up.
Wasn't he a mercenary anyways? Or was he part of the British Secret Service? Or?
He was Russian-born, British government super agent, highly decorated, on loan to America. They wanted to be Captain Bloody America. But Tim Roth really was. You forget how good Tim Roth is. Like you don't, but I did, and he's
How dare you?
so
How dare
good.
you?
Um,
Staple,
but
a staple of '90s movies.
I think that she will win that case because you kind of have to have her win the big case. You can't have her first big case be a loser. And it's like, you're a bad lawyer, Jennifer Walters.
Well, she sort of won her first case and then lost it. There's ways they can do that where they can make her look like a good lawyer.
I love speaking won and then lost her first case. I love her boss. I love how much of a dick he is. Just like there's a lot of great villains have subtext, and we'll talk about in House of the Dragon where it's like, oh man, I kind of people no real good or bad guys, all shades of gray. But then this guy, he's just like, and tell this person they're fired because they're just the worst.
Yes. Shades of gray, like the gray man.
Yeah.
One quick other She-Hulk question. How did you feel about them making the Incredible Hulk canon finally?
Well, it's always been canon, right? Like,
yeah, but not officially. They never addressed Ruffalo taking over the role after the Incredible Hulk. No, I like the way they did it. That was a good little line for the audience. It was a wink to the audience, I guess.
Yeah. Now, can I ask though? I know I'm gonna bring in movies. First of all, I did really like that they are acknowledging Incredible Hulk because I've always thought that movie's a lot better than people give it credit for. Like,
yeah,
it's not good. Like, it's not. I'm not saying it's like top 10 Marvel, but like it's not as bad as like Thor: The Dark World, like people seem to think it is, or even fucking
people
Eternals.
Think it's worse. Really?
Yeah, people hate Incredible Hulk for some reason because they're stupid.
Dare
but
dare they?
But what do you prefer? Do you prefer Smart Hulk saying I was a different guy back then, literally, or Don Cheadle rolling up and being like, "It's me, deal with it"? What's the better nod at recasting?
Oh,
because those are the two big recasts.
I am gonna say I was a different guy back then, literally. I'm gonna say that, but I do appreciate Don Cheadle as well, as you know.
Speaking of which, is his show still happening? Is Armor Wars still happening? Like, no one's talking about that.
Yes, supposedly Armor Wars is still happening. I think that's some of the D23 stuff that they left or whatever. There's a whole bunch of stuff that they left. But yeah, the 100% I believe Armor Wars is still happening.
I'm sorry, I promise I didn't just bring this up to talk about this. Remember last year when Don Cheadle got nominated for best guest appearance for Falcon and the Winter Soldier at the Emmys? You remember that last year?
No.
Or maybe it was the Golden Globe. Maybe he got nominated for a Golden Globe. But yeah, for his one scene in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, he got nominated for best guest appearance.
Attaboy.
But just remember that's crazy.
Did he win?
I don't know. We weren't on the show yet, so I didn't have to care.
Oh yeah. Well, that's true.
But what were we talking about before that? She-Hulk. Now, this is something that's been a little hot or cold in terms of the audience. What do you feel about her? How do you feel about her family?
Okay, this is something I forgot while we were talking about it. It slipped my mind. When I heard Mark Lynn Davis's voice, I marked out, yelling and pointing at my television. It's Cousin Larry. It's Cousin Larry. Honey, it's Cousin Larry. And I'm just hoping that someone was going to knock on the door and it was going to be Bronson Pinchot, and we would have had a Perfect Strangers reunion right there on She-Hulk. I would have cried myself to sleep with happiness. Yeah, absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved seeing him. Every time I see him, and I haven't seen him in much since Perfect Strangers. But as soon as I saw him, I was 13 years old again. I was Larry Appleton, and I'm wanting to hear him so badly say, watch and learn. I wanted to hear that so bad. I wanted to hear it so bad. I hope they could do something with them.
I'm
But yeah,
curious to
I hope
see.
they get Bronson Pinchot on the show. That'd be awesome.
I'm curious to see how much her family is involved, because they had that dinner scene to like show how Jen's whole world is unraveling.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how excited cousin Chad was. He's like, big news! I manager at the Best Buy. Wow, employed and getting a promotion. But I'm curious to see if we're ever going to see the family again.
Oh, we got to see the dad. We got to see the dad. I don't think it's going to be that as integral to the show as, say, like Ms. Marvel's family, of course.
Of course.
But we got to see the dad at least at some point again, don't we?
I don't know, man.
So I don't know. Maybe it's just, it's just a 13-year-old little snark thinking that he'd love to see more Cousin Larry Appleton on TV. Because I don't think we need to see anymore, but they were there at the end and stuff like that. She was putting the television up and stuff like that. And maybe she's going to be staying at the house. Who knows?
Man,
who knows?
I felt very seen as she was just like doing all the heavy lifting and stuff. As the 6'5" only male member of my family outside of my dad, I felt so seen. I'm like, oh yeah, you do have to carry all the big stuff when you're the biggest. It sucks.
The 4 jugs of water.
Final question about She-Hulk before we move on to House of the Dragon, because our special guest has arrived. Do you think we're going to see Mark Ruffalo again, or do you think that's a wrap for him?
No, that's it.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't think we'll see him again. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's a good way for us to not expect to see Mark Ruffalo again for a while.
Go to space.
Throw him into the middle of space.
Do you think that would be satisfying then? Like, because if we... I understand that, like, Marvel is a thing, and, like, we're all expected to watch everything. But is that good for She-Hulk, the show, if we don't get any kind of resolution on why did Hulk go to space in episode 2?
Well, I think following the Marvel formula, yeah. I think he's run his course with that show. I don't think there's anything else you need after, that phone call and stuff like that to show, they're still in the Hulk universe. That's fine. Hulk is still there. That's fine. And then he can go. Then it can be the She-Hulk show, not the Hulk and her show or whatever else it would be. It's not supposed to be about the Hulk. It's supposed to be about She-Hulk. He did his job on the show. They sent him off to the far reaches of space through wormholes and everything else. We won't have to see him, and we won't see him again. But this is a good way to send him off, where we know that he won't be coming back for the show, at least not in these 7 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to worry about it. Just let her do her own thing. And now she's without a net. She doesn't have that backup for whatever. She has to figure it out herself.
That makes sense. I do think we're going to see him again. Like, I think final episode.
How dare you?
I think, but then again, I guess like Steve Rogers never showed up in Captain America, but he never was supposed to. But right. I think there's a very good chance like he shows up as the like last episode, like here's your superhero costume type thing.
Maybe. Well, he told her spandex.
That's true. It's gonna be interesting because like with Hawkeye and even Ms. Marvel, we immediately saw what their superhero outfit was going to look like in the thumbnail. This is just her as a lawyer, She-Hulk.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what they go, if they just go like the purple bodysuit and stuff.
I got a quick question for you. What do you think the chances are we see Edward Norton in the show?
I would die. That's actually my secret hope for Secret Wars, is that we get Ed Norton back. Like, we never would. But I would love to see that.
How about that Australian guy from Hulk?
That Australian guy from Hulk?
Yeah, from the Ang Lee Hulk movie.
Oh. Maybe.
Yeah, can't remember his name. It's not like I'm very bright.
You're not very bright.
How dare you?
All right.
I'm allowed to say it and think it.
Are you ready
I
to
don't wanna
move
hear it.
on?
Oh,
From-
someone's smart. Must be raised in America. Not
Must
here
be.
in Canada.
Are you ready to
He's
move
got the
on
smart-
from? Are you ready to move on from a world not too dissimilar to our own to one where there's fucking dragons?
That's not what. There's dragons here.
Where? Alberta's different, I guess.
They're in Komodo.
No.
How dare
And
you.
do you want to bring our special guest on, or should we have just invited him to leave him in the green room?
Oh, well, he seems to have all the answers back there. But finally, guys, making his grand reappearance on the show. I think he was a guest on the very first episode, was it?
He first or second, he came to talk about Boba Fett.
Right. And then he decided to ghost us for a long time. He traveled the United States by bike.
Oh,
He had a bindle and a bicycle, and he traveled from town to town solving mysteries. And while he was at it, I guess he had time maybe to read the House of the Dragon book. What is it? Blood and whatever?
Fire and Blood.
Fire and Blood. And now I'm assuming he's watched the first 2 episodes of the show. My favorite North Dakotan. Here comes Taco.
It's the best intro I've ever gotten, ever. Not most factual, least factual. And I hope I'm your favorite North Dakotan. There's only like 5 of us.
Yeah.
I'm
Not
a big
of
fan of Steve Buscemi from that one movie that happened in North
Yeah.
Dakota.
It wasn't filmed, nor did most of it take place in North Dakota, and he's not North Dakotan. But yeah, cool. I'm glad.
Don't
you
break
bring
my-
him on.
Don't break my
We-
immersion.
Like in
We do
Brainerd,
have-
Minnesota or something like that.
We do have the wood chipper from that movie displayed at a rest stop near here.
There was a
Wait.
moment where I thought you were going to say in our front yard. And I'm like,
Oh,
wow,
I
Taco,
wish.
you've been holding on to that for a
I
while.
bet I could easily steal it. It's not bolted down. No one wants it.
Most of North Dakota is just a movie museum. So if you have a house there, you gotta put up with some
There's-
stuff there. That's
There's
fine.
one scene in that movie that takes place in Fargo, and there's only one other movie or 2 movies that take place in North Dakota. The original Leprechaun with Jennifer Aniston's original nose, which
boy.
is amazing, and that movie Monster Truck that no one remembers.
Monster
Yeah.
Truck. It was
They have a
filmed there.
monster. It takes place there.
Oh my god! They
Where-
couldn't even. Wait a minute. You're gonna
CGI
have a movie
monster.
take place in North Dakota. You don't even bother going to North Dakota. That is very North Dakota.
Who had
I couldn't
We
imagine a
talk-
cheaper place to film. Sorry, keep going.
who had we talk about the movie Monster Truck on their House of the Dragon bingo card?
I did actually. That's why I
so
brought
this
it up.
is all.
It's an inside job. Yeah, so it's called Fire and Blood. I have not biked across the country. I had it planned before I met you guys, and then my wife got pregnant. I actually had a plan to do the Mississippi River Trail from Itasca all the way down to Louisiana, and I had it completely mapped, and I was going to do it the summer that my daughter was born, so I didn't do it. But anyways, I wish. Yeah, so I read Fire and Blood, and in fact, the week I've been at work for 8 graveyards in a row, and my first day was the Sunday that the first episode came out, and then the last day was the Sunday the second episode came out.
Okay.
So I listened to the entire era of this that the book takes place in, or I mean that the show takes place in, inside the week. So I've not only seen both of them, but I have very recently listened to all of the Dance of the Dragons chapters.
Wow,
So it's very fresh in my head.
that's very helpful for me because like we're probably not, for Rob's sake, we're not going to talk about book stuff, but
'Cause I can't read.
I read it when it first came out. Then
Yeah.
I had several concussions, and I don't remember most things that happened. Because I love I don't know if you know this, Rob, but the book that it's based on is not like an actual book like Game of Thrones.
It's a history book.
It's a in-universe history book
Yeah.
that's like written by a maester
like 200 years later. Yeah.
Yeah.
A maester during the era or the reign of King Robert wrote it. So a lot of people put a lot of maester conspiracies in it, like, oh, maybe he's downplaying and making the Targaryens look bad to like butter up to Robert. But the cool thing about go ahead.
History is written by the victors, right?
Which
Yes, and for the victors,
right?
Specifically in this case, is you're not going to want to say, by the way, the 100 years of Targaryen history we're talking about, way better than this. Like, you're not going to say that. Yeah. So you kind of downplay it and make them seem a lot more messed up. But specifically, the Dance of the Dragons, I don't know. A lot of people don't know that there's a civil war that this show's about a civil war. A lot of people don't realize that that's what's going to happen. So I don't know how many spoilers I'm going to accidentally drop because so much of it's common knowledge to me. Mm-hmm. But anyways, this whole era is based off 3 testimonies. So the guy goes back and forth between like a septim who is very like won't say anything juicy or anything, like, you know, oh, blah, blah. And then like a guy who's somewhere in the middle, like a maester, who also is like kind of a little conservative. And then there's the fool Mushroom, who we will get to see later, who's at court and everybody is banging everybody in Mushroom's testimony.
Yeah.
So like, it will literally be like, they don't know why they kicked this king guard up. A lot of people say that he, you know, said something really dishonorable, so they sent him up to the wall. And Mushroom's like, he banged the queen, he banged the princess.
And then
I watched. They let me join, and they all love me. Like it's always the most messed up.
Yeah.
For
Which before we started this, Rob, we were talking a little bit about House of the Dragon, and I said the really cool thing about this show is, unlike other book to TV adaptations, this is actually more canon than the book, because we get to see what actually happened without the perversion of history that comes from someone who wasn't there writing about it.
I understand what you meant by that. Now that after talks to explain about the book is just a textbook done by 3 guys. So unlike Game of Thrones, where it's from people's perspectives,
actual point of view,
right. It's just done by guys that were on the outside looking in or whatever.
And some things just don't make sense. There's a lot of people who break down that history book of like how like they look at it from a conspirators with the tinfoil hat on and really break down a lot of stuff. So there's a lot of conspiracy theories involving this time. But anyways, I don't want to talk about the book. I do, of course, but that's not what you guys brought me on here for. I do have to say one last thing, just comparing the changes. There is a lot of changes timeline wise, like aging characters up and aging characters down. Like Alicent Hightower is like 9 years older than Princess Rhaenyra. I always get Rhaena and Rhaenyra mixed up. We
were talking about that before the show as well. Like those names are too close.
Names are going to screw me up.
Targaryens are the worst. There's like Daemon, Daeron, and Laeron and Flaeron, and they're all brothers.
And the worst part is you can't even say the blonde one because they're all blonde.
They're all blonde.
No kidding.
You know, the blonde one with purple eyes. I don't think they actually gave these ones purple eyes. But yeah, so when the stuff between Viserys the King and Alicent Hightower isn't as creepy. She's like 21 when it happens, and Rhaenyra is like 12. You know, like, so it's not like they're best friends or anything. Like it isn't as creepy, but it still angers people because it is this guy it's very pushing his station. Like, so it still angers people that Otto is like married his daughter to the king, because it does further his station way more than a second son of the Hightower should.
Right.
But yeah.
So so him being aged up, would you have rather they showed Viserys as a 9-year-old getting the crown, or like he was a grown ass man when they gave it to him?
No. So he's 20 when this should be in the book. He's not 9. I'm saying Rhaenyra was 9. The age gap between Alicent and her are really small, but also he's like pushing 30 at this time. So it's still not like, it's not like the 50-year-old dude talking to the 12-year-old. Like that's just out of this, and like that's not in the book like that. She's 13 and he's like pushing 30, and it's still weird.
That's way better.
But yeah, it's still weird. But it's not like we don't get to see that seed, and I'm glad it gets turned down in both. But yeah, the aging, it's funny because I like it and I don't like it at the same time because for drama reasons, Maika Rhaenyra and the princess and Alicent the same age. Later on, when there's a schism, spoilers, it makes it a lot more dramatic, right? Because they're best friends and they grew up together and things like that. But at the same time, it's a lot more creepier now to see like her come in with this book and she's 16 and his dad's like, "Where's something sexy and go talk to him." You know, that's super weird. Yeah. And it's supposed to be weird. And I'm glad us as a society, after we see these first 2 episodes, we go, there's a lot of weird stuff. I'm glad that we all agree it's weird.
It was one of those things that we're just talking about the weird stuff and kind of, if you came for a blow by blow on House of the Dragon, this is not going to be what this is. We're just talking about, the show we watched. It wasn't until, Valerian.
Lena.
No. What's her dad's name?
The sea snake.
Corlys.
The sea snake.
I love that guy. He's great. And the rumors about a younger that guy getting his own show.
That's the Corlys we want. Is the younger one? Is a show about the 7 voyages?
Yeah, the guy going out there, going to a shy and all that shit. It's like I love it.
Oh.
But when it wasn't until I hadn't thought about like House Targaryen and like how incestuous everything was until he's like, "Hey, you can marry our daughter." And I'm like, "Wait a minute." And then that was the moment where I was like,
when that happened, I went, "Oh yeah, I remember this."
Emma Aaron, the wife who dies so brutally in the first episode. That's his cousin. Yeah, you know, like it's not like anything like when they branch out, it's like cousins. Like that's the branching out. They still want some Targaryen DNA. Actually, the Hightower out of the entire line, so from Aegon the Conqueror to here, is the first time they're like the lineage is bringing in somebody who isn't either a Valerian or a Valerian from House Valerian or an actual Targaryen. Like this is the first time it's like, hey, I'm going to marry somebody who has none of my genes. Yeah, that's
man. It's not until maybe it's just because I read all of these things first and I don't hear them as much. But George R. R. Martin, sometimes you got lazy, man. The Valerians from Valeria. And then what's the Prince of Dorne? His name is Duran. It's like, come on, George.
Doran from Dorne?
Yeah. Wait, what's the dragon's name? Oh, Drogon.
Yeah. Well, that's based on Drogo, called Drogo.
I feel like he got the dragon's name first and then was like, and now
he worked his way back.
He started with the dragon called Dragon. He had a list
of 5 names. He had to populate it throughout 30 characters. So let's just take a letter from here and add it to there.
History, though. If you go back in history, there is no King Mark of France, but there is 30 King Louis of France. You know, like that's just how many Roberts and Johns and Edwards and, you know, like all the kings of England, there's like 4 names.
Yeah. Only one Robert, and I believe he's only the King of Scotland.
Oh.
I don't think there was
Robert the Bruce?
Mm-hmm.
I thought we were talking about Robert Baratheon. I only know fake.
He was the the Targaryen killer.
Yeah, badass.
Not even
usurper. He was. There were 13 years of peace under Robert.
Young Robert, it's awesome. I mean, and also there wasn't 13 years of peace under Robert. There was a war. They fought the Iron Islands, and also it was under Jon Arryn. It had nothing to do with Robert. Any king that the second you die, there's a war of succession means that you caused that war of succession.
But
there's no way around that.
He didn't see it. He didn't see the war.
Okay, I got a couple.
But he would have been very happy about it.
God damn it!
All right.
I have a couple of questions. Now I want to preface this by saying I'm really enjoying the show. So any criticisms I have is just nitpicking stuff. But some of my least favorite stuff from Game of Thrones is when they would be I apologize profusely. Was when they would just be in the throne rooms and stuff like that, just talking highborn talk. Like
my favorite stuff.
Like pompous accents and stuff like that, and saying stuff like the hour grows late and stuff like that.
Rob, I'm going to tell you this right now. I feel like this is bad company.
Is this the only show? Is this all the show is? Like, do they
No.
go outside and go into like the
No.
lessers, the lower?
Let me tell you, the first, if I was show running, so I don't know what they have planned, but if I were to make a guess, the first season is going to be a lot of this, and the second season might be, depending on where the season ends, but when actual D of the D breaks down, the Dance of the Dragons breaks down, you're going to be all over the place, and there's going to be Starks who are getting involved. There's going to be Tullys named after Sesame Street characters, not a joke. There's gonna be there is Grover Tully. There is Grover Tully and his sons Kermit and Elmo, and and then his son like Oscar. Like, I'm not kidding. There's a whole bunch of Tullys named after Sesame Street characters. They're getting involved. It's gonna be all over the place. And there's a bunch of Lannisters that we'll bring in soon. But right now, the chapters that we're dealing with are the prelude chapters. They're like the stuff that we're covering is like the end of the last story arc, right? Like, we're just getting out of King Jaehaerys's stuff, and we're just getting into the dance. Like, I wouldn't even call this the dance yet. We're not even close.
No, I don't know how much we want to talk about it, but the rest of the episode titles have leaked, so like there is a pretty good understanding of like where stuff is going to.
An eye for an eye? Is there anything about an eye?
No, but like the episode 9 is the Green Queen.
Woo!
And episode 10, I don't have them in front of me, but like episode 10, episode 4, I think is called the King of the Narrow Sea.
No, I know that's coming. They already talked about that.
Oh well, but then I think episode 10 is like the black. It's like the Black Court. So I think.
Yeah, we're getting into it.
That's the thing that starts the dance. I think is probably happening in episode 8 to lead to episode 9.
One would hope. One would hope that, and it's funny because there's a certain character, and I'm going to literally be saying this later, so I don't want to spoil it. But there's a certain character that they've given way more love than they ever did in the books. That's doing so good, and it stinks that character doesn't make it very far, and it bothers me. But anyways. I think you know who I'm talking about, but I don't want to say it. And then I'm going to say completely unrelated. The performances have been, for the most part, there's probably one I don't love. And just casting in general, I don't love for the character. But
spill the tea. Tell us who it is.
For Mysaria the White Worm, nothing against the, like, they just, nothing against the, like, actually the actor. It was the fact that they changed the backstory. Mysaria the White Worm's supposed to be like as Valyrian as the Valyrian. She's supposed to be from Lys, and she's supposed to have a very white hair. The Lady of the Night that Daemon's banging a lot. Like her character does seem a lot the same. Yeah, betrothed, but she does actually get pregnant in the book. So it's weird that they decided not to. So they're changing her character a lot, but I hope. She doesn't. Yeah, she actually does. She loses it. Yeah, she loses it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting, Taco, because I took to take that this episode told us that was all fake.
Well, it might be, but sorry, in the Maesters we trust, I guess. I don't know.
That's what I was gonna say.
Wow. Sounds like believe an establishment over here.
Maester Orwell, he's credible source. But
glass candles are lighting.
The fact that she is, I want to say that they made her like from E.T. and things like that. Like, she's just supposed to be like from the Pleasure House and Lys, but the fact that she is mostly like Valyrian seemed important to me, and the fact that she like just isn't kind of.
Oh, she isn't Valyrian at all. Okay.
Yeah, it seems like she isn't in the show, but I don't know. Who cares? But besides her performance, I'm loving a lot of like, especially the King. Is amazing. I always forget that guy's name.
Paddy Constantine.
The guy from Hot Fuzz.
That's my problem with him.
The guy
I
from
can't not
Fuzz.
just see the Andes when I look at
it. I like that both of them had amazing careers. Like both the Andes did. And we don't even know what Simon Pegg's up to anymore. I'm kidding. No, he was so good in The Outsider, the Stephen King like short series that was on HBO. And right after he was in that is when he got announced as Viserys. And Viserys is like famously like fat in the books, and he's like, you know, all he cared about was feasting and throwing tourneys, and he's a peacetime king, and he just scratches his belly and goes, "Oh, who cares who's my heir?" Yeah,
he's the blonde Robert Baratheon.
But he didn't kill to get his throne, so he's a less war Robert Baratheon, but he's still kind of a Robert Baratheon. He's a king that leaves succession in question. Anyways, but those kings suck. But when he's Paddy Considine's actor, whatever his name is actually like a really skinny dude. So when he was first cast, everyone's like, he looks nothing the way he should. And then all I said was like, if you just watch The Outsider, like that whole show, you know that dude can act. And holy crap, can he act? He is so good. And he's completely won me over on Viserys, and I never cared about him. He's a nothing character.
Yeah, I really am liking him, especially. Him and Alicent are both characters who, in the book, I do not care about at all. You're not supposed to.
You're not supposed to like Alicent. You're not supposed to like anybody in this era.
No.
I'll tell you right now, if they make anybody a good guy, I'm going to be like, hey, what are we doing?
which, oh my God, I won't say, but the swerve they're setting up, I'm very excited.
I know.
But
I'm already picking good guys and bad guys. So like, I keep once in a while, I guess all of a sudden I've forgotten what exactly the show. Even if they're even using the same theme music now, it's like, this is the show. This is what's going to happen. Whatever you think is going to happen, as someone who's never read a book, it's not going to happen that way. And I seem to forget about that because that person's obviously a good person. They're going to be fine. But
I love everything that they're doing in terms of the performances and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think there is something about seeing like these characters actually fleshed out, which is really great.
In a really Canadian way, you pronounce out.
Holy cow.
But back to Alicent Hightower specifically, she's killing it. That actress is doing so good. But like that nervous tick they're giving her, where she's like ripping at her cuticles, it makes me me do this. Like it really makes her like that right there humanized her more than the book ever did.
Oh, and for sure.
You're not sure, just that one little nervous tick, and you're not sure if she goes how much she's involved with what Otto in the book, what Otto Hightower, like, you know, his scheming. You don't know how much she's involved, but they made it very clear, especially with aging her down. Like she does not have agency. She is not her own person. She is a pawn for the hand of the king. Like, and that their later stuff gives a completely different context for the rest of the show.
Yeah.
That's so amazing.
It's really so recolored cool. a lot. Yeah. I also Rhaenys, Aunt Targaryen. I love the conversations she has and the acting that she does with Rhaenyra, where they're both like needling each other just a little bit, but it's because she's like, fuck, dude, I already saw this. Like, they could have made me queen, but they didn't make me queen, so they're not gonna make you queen.
I like that she's like, no, they didn't not choose a woman. They did not choose you. Yeah. And then she's like, believe that all you want there, little lady. Like, we'll see.
I had one problem with that conversation, not with any of the words. I think it's great. It's just there's a lot of whisper acting in that part. There's a lot of whisper acting, which sometimes can drive me bonkers.
Have you ever schemed before, Snark?
Oh, I scheme all the time.
No, Manitoba is loudly.
You don't do it loudly.
Unschemy.
No, I do it like this.
You need a garden, a robe, and whisper talking.
Last time I went out to the garden with my robe on, I got the cops called on me.
That's such a...
And you were whisper talking.
I was whispering. Already.
What are you doing? I'm just out here.
But now we talk about like performances and stuff. I really love. Also, I love dragons. I love that we've already gotten so many dragons. I love that.
We need to just talk about Caraxes at some point.
Oh, Caraxes! I love how long his fucking neck is.
He's amazing.
It's so cool.
He's like this deformed worm freaking monster, and he's
Yeah.
got the super long legs, and he's got long neck, and then he's got like extra wings on his legs, and his like
Mhm.
freaking
Daenerys
roar is like.
is-
No, that's Damon's.
That's Matt Damon.
That's what I mean. It's Damon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna say. I told you. I'm gonna get the names.
That's
Doctor Who. That's Doctor Who's.
I have been doing that a lot too, where I'm like, oh man, Doctor Who. First of all, Doctor Who, you are too cavalier with that dragon egg. You're throwing it around like a football. Like that's a dragon egg. Chill out, dog. There's not gonna be a lot of those left.
I do like that he brought it out knowing that he probably has to give it up. Because look, if I like, I don't know, give me something, $10. If I took $10 from you and you show up at my house, if I wasn't planning on giving you the $10, I wouldn't come to the door with the $10. I wouldn't open the door like, this.
But to be
Like
fair,
it wouldn't be gone. Like it would be back there.
I
It'd
think
be
he
a ballsy
just.
move if you did.
I think he brought it out.
Super
Pretty
ballsy.
good fun.
I think he brought it out because he expected his weak-willed brother to actually show up, and he was doing it to taunt.
He's
Because-
too busy hanging out with 16-year-olds, dude. He's busy.
Yeah, but Matt Damon doesn't. Not Matt Damon.
Not Damon.
Everyone's calling him Matt Damon. No, it's totally fine. Everyone's calling him Matt Damon.
Is he okay?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Unbelievable.
but Damon, he didn't know that his brother wasn't going to show up. It's been 6 months. He hasn't been around.
I do like that whole insurrection is just, wah, look at me, brother. Wah. That's all it was. Was just like,
But like if Rhaenyra doesn't show up with Cyrax, which like confirmation, George R. R. Martin, big Mortal Kombat fan.
thank you.
Wow.
It is one of my favorite characters.
I love Cyrax. But if she doesn't show up on Cyrax, like he's not giving that back. Like he's just showing up being like, "This is my egg. You better legitimize my woman."
How great was the dick measuring contest between him and Kristen Cole? He's like, "Oh, what's your name again, Crispin?" He's like, "Oh, do you not remember when I knocked you down?" He's like, "Fuck, good one. All right." He's like, "Good job."
I know we're talking a lot about episode 2, but just to go back to episode 1, I love that when Game of Thrones started, they had to be a little bit more restrained. And in the books, George R. R. Martin will go on for long tangents about like the decorative armor that each individual character has, and like how Renly's Kingsguard, or not Kingsguard, they're the Rainbow Guard. And like, everyone has different colors associated with them, so everyone looks different. And like the Hound has this crazy dog mask, which
they actually that's the only helmet they do.
I know it's a bad example.
Yeah.
But like,
the antlers on all of the Baratheon helmets, you know,
well, like, when I see freaking Doctor Who Matt Damon himself walking out or riding out with his dumbass
wings,
black armor with the big wings, my wife laughed. I was like, he looks like an idiot, and I was like, yeah, he does, but that's so cool.
Yeah, badass idiot.
And then the high tower, he's got a little high tower on his head.
Yeah, no, I thought that was great. Little Gawain, poor little Gawain.
Yeah, this is something I really like, and I think that the show is already doing better than Game of Thrones ever did, where even the White Cloaks, I think, look cool.
Look way better. The White Cloaks actually look like, and even the Gold Cloaks, like, they're actually bringing the right armor and the right symbolism. Yeah. Did you guys hear about the new spinoff they're doing about Hightowers? They're taking Garth the Green Hand and Gawain and making Gawain's World. With Gawain and Garth.
Dave, call the cops.
Gawain Hightower and Garth the Green Hand are
very funny.
I'm hilarious. That's the funniest thing.
Dare you?
This is why we had to kick you off the channel. You were too funny. You were too funny for the rest of us.
I made it a Canadian reference for you folk. There, see, I got something. Got Jekyll.
Both. But I really love the the armor that they're showing off, and just everything looks doper than it ever did in Game of Thrones.
In the armor. I like that.
Oh, and then just talking about other things to start with Dragonstone. I'm like, I feel like I did when I watched Solo for the first time, where I'm like, man, Han Solo is just a bad owner. The Millennium Falcon used to be dope. And in this, I'm like, man, Stannis made one good choice. He got that big ass map table in there, but other than that, he's a bad owner.
All right. All right, you bother me so much right there.
Oh wow.
Stannis did not make the map table. That
I
was
know
made
he
by
did.
Aegon the Conqueror, and the
I-
fact that wasn't in the one scene when they go into Dragonstone.
Yeah.
I was like, "Where's the painted table? Where's it at?"
Yeah.
I don't see it.
Rob,
I
were you
demand the painted table.
were you looking for the big ass map table?
Yeah. The map table.
Rob. Because that's as soon as I saw that we were going to Dragonstone, I was like, "Oh my god, we
We're gonna
gotta
see it.
see the map."
You see the
I
table.
figured they had more than one room.
Yeah, but
No, that was
why do
specifically
anything
that
in any
room.
other room? So in the book, the table's like 50 feet long and 20 feet wide.
Well,
You're gonna hang out in the freaking living room with that thing in
Yeah.
your dining room? No, you're not. You're gonna do everything
Yeah.
at that
Stannis
table.
made a shadow baby on that table.
Yeah,
Ooh.
he banged Melisandre right
Yeah.
there.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
like I was very upset
Down
when,
a shadow.
when Damon was walking through all the gold cloaks, and I was like, "Oh my!" I turned to my wife and I was like, "He's going to the map room," and she was like,
Nope.
And then he did go to the map room, but there was no big table.
We didn't see it. Yeah.
In fact, there was a small table, and I was like, "That's some bullshit."
So
Like
I got a
card-
question.
Just a card table.
I got
They
a
play
question
cards.
for Rob the Snark. When we talk about Game of Thrones, we have to add of those in people's
Sure.
names.
Yeah.
So, anyways, Rob, you met Kristen Cole in the first episode, and then you saw him get turned into the Kingsguard in this episode. What are your expectations with this character? Where would you guess? If you could just guess, is he important? Is he just like a side dude?
I
Is
would
he just a
say
BA?
I would say
Bro?
side dude. Like they kept saying he's from Dorne, so that's automatically that goes into my head. It's like they
The
do
Dornish
not have,
marches.
they do not have a good history of being on the show or whatever. They seem to be like they're gonna kick a lot of ass, and then
Any Dornish guy when they're like, "Hey, we're gonna go over to this mountain," and he's like, "Nope, I'm not going anywhere near a mountain."
I would actually love to go to a canyon. That would be so
is there
cool.
any canyons?
Yeah.
He's
Swamp
not
Valley.
actually from
valley.
Dorne.
Yeah,
He's
no,
from
the
the
valley.
Dornish marches that are in the Stormlands.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they do call him Dornish, so I'm guessing like his lineage is from Dorne.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But House
she said that
Cole-
he looked Dornish or whatever. It looks like he
Yes.
looks Dornish. So it's like, oh boy, this
Squishy
guy is not.
Dornish.
Yeah,
Because
Yeah.
at this
It's
point, correct
squishy.
me if I'm wrong, Taco, Dorne is not
Not.
part of
You're
the
right.
Sand Kingdom yet.
Yeah, absolutely not. So Dorne was not conquered by Aegon the Conqueror, and it is
a
not
free
actually.
city. Then is that what they call them? The free city.
No, the free
Well, the free
cities
cities are in Esso.
Mhm.
Jinx. But yeah, no, free cities are in Essos. Jordan's down to the south, and it's not brought in until Darren the Good, which is quite a while from now.
Darren,
Yeah, good old
Buddy.
Darren. Good
Pete
old,
the
good old-
Brave.
yeah,
Darren
good old
the
Darren the Good. Darren the Good's a watch my Targaryen tier list video with Soda Pop, because that's actually my
I know that guy.
highest. That is my highest viewed live stream. Thank you, House of the Dragon.
Thank you, search engine optimization.
Yeah, it's funny because I put it up the day before House of the Dragon, and it got 3 views, like all my shows do.
Yeah.
And then House of Dragon came out, and at 11 p.m. it went.
Can I tell you, Taco? It's
Thank you.
also definitely because of the thumbnail you used. A lot of people use that thumbnail. I definitely accidentally clicked on your video 5 times.
Oh,
when I was
I'm glad you accidentally.
No,
clicked
I
on
had
that.
already listened to it.
Oh, okay. Love you.
I tweeted about it, Dick.
You're 1%
Wow.
of that 3% that watched it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But I really like
All
this.
the way through.
I really like this show. Rob, as someone who hasn't read the books.
As an
What
idiot,
are
which
you trying to say? I'm illiterate.
No, actually, I am very jealous of you because
I'm not.
I see people and I'm like, I see people in the show and I already know I'm waiting for either the heel or the face turn or the betrayal or the whatever, unless Mushroom just lied to me.
I can't wait for the mushroom guy.
I actually I don't think we're ever going to see Mushroom.
We will. We will. They said we will. We said he's a season 2 thing. Yep.
Oh, it's a season 2 thing?
Well, he's part of
I just like the name,
Rhaenyra's court, so maybe at the end of this, but
it's
he's-
like do you watch the behind the inside the episode thing that they do afterwards?
Me, of course. Watched
But-
twice.
Yeah, me too. But it was either in one of those or it was in the one they did right before the premiere where they're like, yeah, you know, there are some characters in the book who just kind of tone disruptors, so we probably won't bring in. And I'm like, they're talking about Mushroom.
Yeah.
Wow.
Literally somebody could be like, oh, did you hear that that Frank got killed? And Mushroom's like, yeah, he was banging your wife and I watched. Like, that's how Mushroom always
Yeah. Like if they didn't give us Patch Face, I don't think they're gonna give us Mushroom.
very different. Okay.
Very different, but I think like in terms of the like
Okay.
antiquated characters,
They are not here anymore. Dan and Dave didn't give us
Fair.
Patch Face because they were horrible showrunners and they didn't like prophecy because it means that they actually have to stick to a plan.
they gave us 5.
But-
they gave us 5 good seasons.
Yeah. Yep. How long was the show again?
Dan Orbit.
Less than 5, right? Okay, cool.
Anyway, back to what I was saying. Rob, as someone who hasn't read the book
Sure.
or and only knows about stuff that me and Taco have alluded to, what are your like? Where do you think this is going?
I think this is going to the
To
Targaryens realizing they're family and they're gonna give each other a hug, and then the rest of the next 2 seasons gonna be them writing folk songs, possibly buying a van.
You
going
partridge
down-
family this. You partridged it. All right. Cool.
But they can go around. They can go around solving mysteries. There's
Why
plenty
do
of
they need
mysteries to
vans? They
solve.
have dragons.
Vans are cooler.
Have you met the new dragons? We have Syrax and we have Caraxes, and now we also have the mystery van.
Yeah.
The mystery machine. Damn, I ruined it.
Oh boy. Also, like, do you have any standout characters that you're really liking so far?
Besides Caraxes.
Beside Caraxes.
Oh my god. That roar, everyone has to say that roar was amazing.
It
Because
was
he's like didn't have like a deep dragon roar. It was like, ah! It's like, oh my god, you
it
freak.
sounds like it hurts for you to be alive. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. That thing is miserable. He's gonna take it out on half the realm. You know, it's
But, like, obviously Doctor Who, the lizard from Spider-Man, those are big
Yeah.
guys. One of the Andes.
race.
What about
Ray-
the crab
Ray-
guy?
what
Is the crab guy a big guy?
Nah.
Crab? No.
No, he already has more character development in the scenes he's not in than he
Yeah.
has in all the.
I
books.
would not be
Weird.
surprised.
I know that.
Here's the thing, based on, and I won't say, I don't know if we want to talk about the episode because I do have them up now if we wanted to get into it, but I think he's going to actually get a lot more play this season because
He should.
based on, so I think the crab guy, the crab feeder,
The crab feeder.
who
Right.
in the book, you hear that and you're like, what a loser. The crab, this was an issue, but then you see him like half disemboweled people feasting
Yeah.
on crabs.
Do crabs eat people? Is that a thing?
So
That
he
way
gets
they're
the
so
crab
delicious.
feeder. He gets a crab feeder name for not actually just straight up feeding people to crabs in the books. I'm not.
I like it.
There's a euphemism there. But no. So what he does is he has posts out on the beach, and if you understand how low tide and high tide work,
Sure, yeah, of course.
he ties people to posts during low tide and slowly drowns them, and
Right.
that's so the crabs will still then go up and eat them. But it's implied that he more drowns them on
Down
high
the
tide,
crabs. Right.
and then crabs. You know, that's how he's feeding the crabs. He doesn't
Yeah.
just straight up like crabs. Here's more human. Like, but cool.
Also-
he's got a creepy mask and he's all disfigured. All
Does
that's
he have
new, and I like
grayscale?
it.
Yes.
He's got something.
Because that was
He's
my
got-
first thought, that he had
got-
grayscale.
That's what
Mr.
I was
Krabs.
thinking. Like, look, a couple of those guys.
Right.
nailed it.
Money.
Yeah, if he's not voiced by Clancy Brown, I am rage quitting.
Oh,
Wow, that's it.
Yeah, that's all.
Oh my god. Your fandom only goes so far.
Yeah. Hey, Star Wars has now added in Clancy Brown, so we're good. That's why I'm
Ooh.
still a Star Wars fan.
Clancy Brown's been in Star Wars for a long time.
Yeah.
Unrelated, but I did watch those. I
Live
did watch
action
those
and
Clone Wars episodes, Dave.
Oh, you did.
I did watch those 3
Taco,
episodes.
it was the Saw. It was Anakin creates the Taliban. Episode.
Yeah, the Taliban episodes. Yeesh.
All right, I would have like 4 other arcs are way better than
We were talking about Saw Gerrera.
specifically Saw Gerrera.
Yeah.
That was the first time Star Wars did the Wild Bunch, and they've now done the Wild Bunch in every single show. So
Yeah.
thank you.
That was
They
really-
constantly Wild Bunch.
I think they had done it before that.
Or
Wasn't
we're
they-
not Wild Bunch, sorry, Magnificent Seven. When they were like, all right, guys, we all have to get the townsfolk together.
I
to...
I don't mean to do this to you, but there was that episode with the bounty hunters earlier, where
Okay.
they defended against
What,
Hondo.
that one episode.
The point I'm trying to make is they love but there's only 2 of us. There's more of us. We just got to teach the townsfolk how to use spears and or blasters. Because there's that in Mando. Even Boba
Yes.
Fett did it. It's
Yeah.
all over the place.
Yeah, but House of the Dragon.
They're gonna teach that town how to do it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Now, I don't know,
King's
like
Landing.
Taco, you or sorry, not Taco. Rob, you have obviously watched the trailers because we've talked about them on this show. So you know at some point there is going to be a massive time, not massive, but like a significant time jump.
I was gonna
Where-
ask you guys about this. It's already started. Like when it starts off, it's 200 years before, and then it's 90, and then it's aging up 6 months. It's not like Game of Thrones, at least not in the beginning, where everything was linear. It took forever. Those first 4 seasons or whatever, it didn't
All right.
feel like it took very long at
Let-
all. But
let
these
me-
are going quick. And I was wondering if you guys felt that it was jarring, but you guys read the books, and now I heard
There
it's
are
the history
certain
books, and now I
characters.
get it.
There are certain characters that we do need to introduce you to. If you do need to meet them, but they're less important compared to their grandkids.
Yeah.
like
There
like
are people on the
we
show
got to
right now.
time jump. Like massive. The characters who are the young generation will be the old generation by the end of the war, and not quite 200-year. So Council 101 is the oldest we got, where we got Sea King Jaehaerys, and I believe we're only like whatever
Right, that's
16
the-
years since.
Yeah.
Right
That's
now.
the old dude there. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
sure. All right.
Number one king, by the way.
Yeah.
Jaehaerys, the
There
best.
was a lot of peace for
Bragger.
him.
Yeah. Well, he's called the Conciliator. He also built all the roads, man.
You know? Yeah.
That's awesome. He made all of the roads.
he did.
Can a president say that? Can Eisenhower be like, "You like the roads? Because I made them."
Well, to be
Like
fair,
that's
I feel like-
hardcore.
I feel like he made he made
Actually,
one
I
big
think
road.
Eisenhower
I-
built a lot of
Eisenhower
roads.
did make the freeway. You're right. He did actually do the interstate.
bad example.
That's why I chose Eisenhower. 'Cause I actually didn't know.
That's like how I
no
said-
no one brings it up. Like Eisenhower, the conciliator. No one ever.
You're
talks
talking.
about it.
You're talking to about a bunch of Canadians about American presidents.
Hey, I did an American
and their
tier list
roadways.
with a Canadian.
Fair.
You know why? Because he has a second screen and he can run the tier list thing for me.
That's smart.
But but there's gonna be a
I'm
not
joking.
like significant, like 50 years, but there's gonna be like a 10-year time jump at some point where we're gonna lose the young actresses that play Rhaenyra and Allison.
Soon.
Probably like
Oh,
episode
really?
3 or 4.
I'm
so-
surprised they haven't yet. Honestly, I thought that it was
Wow.
just gonna do flashbacks and we're gonna only see them in flashbacks. So the
Oh,
fact
yeah.
they're doing it linear means they're not gonna last long. Like we're not gonna hang out in this era very long.
Because especially with like it's very interesting because some of the most interesting characters are some people that we've met grown up or their kids.
Yeah, like
So-
my favorite character is not born yet.
No, I'm a big
And-
Nettles guy.
Yeah, she's probably not born yet either, and she's
Yeah.
not my top 3.
No.
by the way.
I just was like, that's a funny word to say.
Aemon
No,
is my
thank you.
favorite. Aemon One Eye is my favorite,
One Eye.
and we have not met him yet.
No.
I've seen him, and I do think that happens. I think we see why he's called Aemon One Eye.
I'm a big fan of the twins,
Which ones?
the ones that kill each
Ooh.
other.
Which ones?
Oh my god.
The one who is sent to impersonate his brother.
Oh, I was only thinking that like there's the two sets I were thinking. None of them were those sets. That's-
How many twins are there?
There's a
There's
lot
a
of
couple
twins.
twins.
It's gonna be
There's a couple
interesting to
twins.
see how they deal with this.
Targaryens like they're twins.
Like they don't talk about how Corlys's kids like they're twins.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they are.
No, Lena and No, they're not twins.
They're twins, aren't they?
No,
They're twins.
I can't give away, but one of their kids has twins. One of them. Has
Oh,
kids
you know what? That is what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
twin girls, and they're awesome. And then
Yeah.
another character who isn't born yet. That character has twins.
You're right. You know what? You're right.
Oh my god.
But
And
we're gonna-
yeah,
do
Are
you
they
feel
do they have twins just so he can give them rhyming names so he doesn't have to think of anything?
Gregory
name
and
or-
Schmeggery. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
But-
Schmeggery is a very popular name back then.
Yeah.
to my point?
Schmeggery is just I've
Way
always
more
loved
popular.
Schmeggery.
Gregory.
Yeah.
People are like Gregory. What? Oh,
That's
here's my
a-
brother Schmeggery. Oh, Schmeggery.
That's an old Ray Romano joke.
Oh
That's
boy.
what the
But-
Gregory Schmeggery. I'll tell you in the green room. Yes, Dave?
But Rob,
Oh boy.
you spent 2 episodes so far getting to know
Yeah.
these young actresses.
Yes.
How do you think you're going to feel
Crazy.
when suddenly they are no longer on the show? Is that going to keep you invested? Are you going to care as much when Rhaenyra is no longer Rhaenyra?
I'm going to be invested more. By the sounds of it, it gets way better. Like just by listening to you guys, I'm more excited now than knowing that they're not going to be around. And I won't have to be listening to how the hour grows nigh and all this other stuff. It's going to come down to like people are going to try and fuck people over here, and I'm all for that.
It gets
So-
very Game of Thrones up in here.
Sir Stark, I want to talk to you about power and where it's moving. Can you walk in the throne room so the throne can be positioned in between us when we talk about how we both want power? All right, cool.
I have no
Fuck,
problem.
I love, by the way, that's another thing I really do like about the change to the show is
The throne room
they made it more book accurate without making it ridiculous.
slightly more broken.
Yeah, we can never get the Tower of.
We could have.
No,
we
we
can't now.
It doesn't make sense.
We could have though.
It's ridiculous, and I think this is much better.
The only problem I have with this is if like they walk on like, you know, there's like welded swords at the top of the steps. Like right when you sit down, there's like right, you're sitting on uneven ground and then you're about to walk down steps. And if you know anything about trip hazards, that's one of them. And then surrounding the steps are up pointed swords. So one dude who just like gets his heavy robing cape stuck on anything's falling and impaling himself. And that's how multiple kings, or at least one king, has died.
Yeah, that
Maegor the Cruel was found impaled on the throne, and no one knows how.
It's like some of the busiest people in Westeros are probably tailors.
I like also the symbolism that they talk about this in the books a lot, but they haven't but they didn't touch on it in Game of Thrones, where like Viserys, because he is like a less worthy king, is like
It's
constantly cutting himself.
Yeah.
Which
The throne, the throne rejects bad rulers.
yeah.
Ooh.
And that's why like and Aegon made it so that you could never sit comfortably on the throne.
Because it's not supposed to be
Right.
comfortable.
Yeah, I think did they mention that in the last episode? I think right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think so.
I like that.
Which I gotta say, also, this is a gross show. Like, Game of Thrones had some messed up stuff, and I know other stuff that's coming up, and like, this is a messed up show. This is gonna be a messed up show, but like 2 episodes, we get the first C-section ever, and then
Okay.
maybe worse than that, the maggots.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I liked that. That was awesome.
I thought for a second, I was
Sound
like,
of them.
I was like, so I had my TV turned down because for whatever reason, my Crave is like all the volume on Crave super low.
Oh, I thought you meant like
For-
something you
for-
crave. Like I crave
For
not
our
hearing
American,
that show.
for our American listeners, Crave is Canadian.
Oh yeah, that's how we get our HBO.
Okay.
But the volume on that, for
I didn't know
whatever reason, is all the way down. So when they take off the little pot and all the maggots are just sitting there, I thought maybe I was moving around a little bit, but the volume was so low that I couldn't hear the maggots yet. So I was like, "Oh, that's weird. I've never seen like just a bowl of rice on Game of Thrones before." And then when they take them out, and I just turning it up, I was like, "Oh no, they're maggots."
Okay. Here's a fun fact.
And he just
What
puts his
we-
hand in there, no problems.
Hey, it's
People were
called
harder back then.
doctoring. Okay, they doctor. No, in the original show, if it actually followed it, Roose Bolton would have constantly been getting leached because in the books, Roose, at the end of the day, his maester comes and puts leeches all over him, and he gets rid of all the bad blood. And he looks just straight up like Dracula in the books, like Roose Bolton.
Well,
so I love all that weird medieval nasty surgery, which is just like, my hand hurts. Well, we can feed it to some bugs. Gotta love it, man. No rice, but we've seen Starbucks coffee. Yeah, they have that. They don't have leeches, but they got Starbucks. But
they're not animals.
Yeah, come on. Give 'em a break.
I was gonna say about about the C-section. So I almost straight up listened to those chapters just to hear, because a different Targaryen, well, it was actually a Baratheon, but a different queen early on, Jaehaerys' his mom, her husband, who's a Baratheon, has to choose between the baby and her. And I remember hearing that chapter and it being really brutal. And not this brutal by any means. No. But she even has like, hey, they give him like the chick's now adult children show up, and then he's like, hey, I'm just gonna murder your mom and get my kid out. And they're like, well, let us at least hang out with her first. And there's like this beautiful last moment where they say goodbye to their mom, and then they're like, all right. So that was already messed up. So the chapter that covers Emma Targaryen's death, just says she died in childbirth. That's the only thing. They did not say that Viserys had to make the choice between them. So I'm going to say that was really horrific. It was one of the hardest things I've ever watched, especially as a father and a loving husband. Just like them pulling her by the ankles was like,
And a midwife.
Yeah, the midwife's like, get me my sword. Some brutal stuff. So all that aside, do you guys like that for Viserys more, of that he made, feeling the pressures of having an heir, sacrificed his wife in vain? Or would you rather just be the book if she just died in childbirth and he didn't literally order her to be cut open?
Well, I didn't know that she didn't have that C-section before. Like, I never read the books. I had no idea.
Yeah.
So I thought what they were trying to do is, like, they were always trying to show him in a nice light and stuff like that. And I thought that the show was trying to show that, this guy is still a Targaryen. He's still a bloodthirsty, king and stuff like that, whose rule is dependent on him being hard and stuff like that. And you just saw him being soft with his daughter.
Cut her open.
Living with his wife. Oh, it's time for a kid. Just rip her in half. No problem.
He lights a cigar and watches.
Honey, don't worry. I'll hold your hand through this. Guys, get your dullest sword.
Everything will be fine.
Yeah, that was. It was hard. That was hard. Like, they've done a lot of shit on Game of Thrones and now this show, and that was as disturbing to watch. And just and then them going quiet and stuff like that, and you seeing her face before. Yeah, no. I didn't think they'd actually show it. I thought they would.
They did.
I thought.
They did.
Yeah.
The castration part was nothing compared to that. Nothing.
Oh my god, that was
for real.
They really set the bar for what they can do on this show. Where in the first episode they have forced C-section, guy gets his dick chopped off.
Call that a dick? Come on.
Yeah. Well,
oh boy, come on. No, now's not the time.
Not all of us are so blessed, Taco.
Don't tell David Targaryen that.
But the totally lost. But they really set the bar on what they're allowed to do, and telling the audience, like, hey, this is what we are, like it or not.
Yeah.
And apparently, like, it was something like the viewership went up like 2.5% from episode 1 to episode 2. So like more people were in favor of dick chopping, I guess.
Heck yeah. To answer
Okay,
your question.
Ben. Okay. Oh my goodness.
But to answer your question, Taco, about whether or not I prefer
Taco
in the books or like she just dies in childbirth or this, I think I prefer and she died in childbirth until you hear until you find out that these Targaryen dicks knew about the White Walker problem the whole time and just didn't say anything.
Can we get to that second?
So,
I got
It
one
was their big-
thing.
So
it was
I
their
think
big
it makes
secret.
more sense.
Be a
Sorry,
big
let me
thing.
just finish this point.
Why
I
he
think
needs
it
an
makes
heir.
more sense for him to like be so driven by prophecy, which is something that it's a big theme in the books.
Mhm.
A lot of people are driven by prophecy, and the fact that he knows, like, if I don't have a son, the world's gonna end. Even though technically Arya Stark's gonna kill the Night King, and it's like,
He
fuck
doesn't
off.
know that. You
He
got
doesn't know
hindsight. He don't
Yeah,
watch the
well,
show.
He didn't watch the show. He should have. It's on HBO.
He's one of those guys.
But
I-
I think it makes more sense for him to have had to make that choice with knowing all that we know now.
I agree. But here's the thing I really liked, and as much as I hated seeing that, but I liked the whole thing with her telling her daughter, "This is our battlefield. This is what we die for. You know, they're there to go and murder people, and we're here to give birth." And she literally then, while they're cutting to the very needlessly violent turning,
Yeah.
they're like, "He said something about your mom," and they just start killing each other or whatever happened. But how it's intercut with violence and violence and violence, and it's showing how that's their battlefield, and also the way that, you know, she died in battle then, and it being very symbolic that way, and being that they're making this show, they're really pushing the theme of gender and of how, you know, women don't get to air and how there's gender roles in the society. Even though that is in the book, it's not the only reason the war has started in the book, but they're making it a little more prevalent in this, which I like. But it really does reinforce that women do this, men do that. Man go throne, girl give birth.
Which is
And
why
that's what the first episode does.
And Rhaenys in both episodes has really great lines that back that up. Where in the first episode, she gets like one line, which is like, I forget what it is, but it's at the tourney when they're all killing each other, and she's like, "These guys ain't shit. They've never seen battle before. Like, I could have been better."
And then the day goes violent. Or no, she said something really awesome. Like,
She
and then
did.
the day goes dark. Like, it was a really cool line. And Corlys is like, yeah.
And then in this one, she has that whole monologue about how like women will get passed over and stuff like that.
So
And
cool.
that I'm really excited to see. I also really like that actress, so I'm happy that she's there for as long as we get her.
Yeah.
But it's so that the intercutting, that's another thing that I didn't even think to bring up. But the intercutting between the childbirth and the
And the
bloody
violence.
battlefield
Yeah.
is just such great visual storytelling on
Yeah.
their part.
It's almost like they're professional directors in charge of the show.
Well, you know, professional directors directed the second to last episode of Game of Thrones as well, where it's like,
I wouldn't call that directing.
Wow.
They were there.
Who is the showrunners now? I was gonna say, like,
Miguel Chapotnik and the other guy. The guy
What have
who
they
was,
done?
are they have they been?
I think they
must have-
directed
they've
Game of
actually-
Thrones episodes. I don't actually
that it?
know.
Really? Wow.
What's the main guy? Miguel, I think, is just the director. Ryan Condal.
yeah, Condal. He House
That's
of the
all
Dragon,
top of my head.
Hidden Valley Plays. He
Attaboy.
was a writer on. He was a writer on Logan's Run. It's just
Ooh.
announced. He is doing the screenplay for Highlander.
Boo.
He did Colony, which I was a big fan of.
Should only be one Highlander. Come on. There's only one.
How dare
he did-
you? How dare you?
Oh, guys, this is how
Well
we probably got the job.
Thank you.
He did the screenplay for Rampage.
Aw.
Wow. All right.
I
He's
don't
punching above
understand.
his weight class
I would-
now. He's doing
Oh,
pretty good.
Also, but here's how he got his fantasy chops. He also
Directed
did.
Game of Thrones.
I actually don't see any Game of Thrones on here.
Oh.
But where he did get his fantasy chops was the Rock vehicle Hercules. Hey man, people do bad. Sometimes you're just doing it for the money. And so far, 2 episodes in, I'm very happy.
No,
Sure.
I'm very
Maybe
happy with the
Maybe
direction of
you
the
wanted
show.
people that had nothing to do with at least the way Game of Thrones ended, especially when you hear the guys who are like big time fans of books that like absolutely cannot stand the last. Like I didn't care too much. I wasn't a huge fan of the last season, but I didn't hate it. But I know
Hated it.
You're
I
talking to
hated
two people who hated it.
I hated season 6, and then season 7 I hated, and then 8 I'm like, good. I'm glad now everybody sees it.
No, the show took a fatal blow when Tywin died, and then when Jon Snow died, spoilers like he does in the books, they should have just said, all right, and now we're going to stop until he finishes the books.
Yeah, which they wouldn't have been able to
But
finish.
at that
That's
point,
the
the
end,
Dorne
right?
plot
Yeah.
line was already so fucked.
They already ruined. But remember, the last 2 books, they just chose to ignore the majority of it. Dance of the Drag, the book Dance of Dragons and Feast for Crows, they just decided not to take the majority of the storylines.
I know. I'm just worried
and,
that
and it bothers me.
I'm worried
That's not what we're
gonna-
talking about here.
Yeah. How cool did the crab feeder look?
Good. I got one thing that I do actually want to bring up before
We got to end this soon, but
yeah, I know. That's why I'm like being rude and hijacking your guys' show and moving it towards what I want to say. But I'm doing it anyways.
That's why you're here. We have to hear ourselves all the time.
The first episode, the way it ended, I tweeted out, well, that ending was really silly. And it's just because he goes, this prophecy has been passed down since Aegon from king to heir. And I immediately went, what? Like, there has never been, besides the one time, besides Jaehaerys to Viserys, besides the last one, there has never been, all right, Aegon to his son, but all the other passing downs have not been from king to heir. They've all been with issues. And I just don't, I was immediately like, that's stupid. Because Maegor the Cruel was the 3rd king, and when his brother died, he then goes and kills his nephew and then takes over the realm. And then his other nephew is marching with a bunch of Baratheons to take his throne, and then they just find him dead on the throne. Oh, so there's just a letter on his chest that's like, for the heir. So my dad had a cool dream, and you need to know about it.
There was Taco. They don't talk about this a lot, but in the king's chambers, there's a little box that says for the king's eyes only. No one's ever looked at it, but if you're not,
Granddad dreamed about a storm that killed people, and we're getting ready about it. But anyways, that bothered me until George R. Martin's like, hey, that was me. Because I think that he knew everyone was going to get mad about it. People who are like, that doesn't make sense. Yeah. And then he goes, this is something I've always had planned, and it just never came up till now, and I was probably going to bring it up later on in the books. But yeah, Aegon knew.
I think he's
I'm no longer mad about it. I'm now intrigued because it doesn't make a lot of freaking sense.
Yeah.
But now it doesn't make sense on purpose.
I think he's going to bring it up in the next, Dunk and Egg books.
Possibly.
I think that's when he'll probably bring
it up. I don't think the next one, but yeah, the later ones when Egg's
he says he's
king.
Well, he's going to do 12, but he's never going to do 12. Fuck you.
I don't think he's going to do 6, dude.
No.
I don't think he's going to give 5.
No.
I would love to see She Was a Winterfell. That's what's supposed to be the 4th.
The last 3 Wheel of Time books were written by somebody else, and those are probably the best 3 books. So
you're the only person I've heard say they're the best 3 books.
I think they're okay. Well, I don't know that I was actually prepared to defend that statement.
I like it. That took guts.
Break the wheel of time.
Yeah, I'm curious, and we'll wrap up after this. Unless you want, Rob, you're the host of the show. We can go on for 12 hours.
Shit.
This is his show.
This is his show. I'm just filling in for Dan.
Where's Dan Ben?
You don't want to.
Around.
Taco, he talked.
You killed him, didn't you?
He talked badly about a certain celestial-bodied superhero show.
Yeah. And there's a mouse with holds a grudge. There's a mouse that holds a grudge.
Yeah, there's a mouse that holds a grudge.
This is green room talk, I guess, because I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, Taco, a superhero who's named after a celestial body. And maybe he's a knight.
Oh, okay.
Maybe Dan talked badly about that show, and suddenly he's not on the show anymore.
Possibly. I didn't watch Moon Knight. All right, if that's what you're referring to. Maybe you're talking about Miss Marvel.
Allegedly.
I love it. Allegedly.
You know, that celestial body, the third moon of Jupiter, Miss Marvel.
Yeah, but Rob, Rob, would you like to see? They tied it into A Song of Ice and Fire, which I did the Leonardo DiCaprio thing. Where it's like, oh, they said it. But do you want to see more Game of Thrones? I guess they wouldn't be call backs; they'd be call forwards. Would you like to see more call forwards in the House of the Dragon, or do you want it to stay more self-contained?
No. 100%. I'd like to keep it more self-contained.
Oh, really? I want time traveling Tyrion to show up.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
And he's mushroom.
Okay, all right. That's not even the time traveling Tyrion theory. For one,
What?
that's not what the time.
Theory?
No, the time traveling theory or Tyrion theory is that he's get ready for it, Rob. He's called Drogo, and Daenerys' kid that dies in her womb gets sent back into Tywin's mother, and that's why she dies in birth. He's actually half Drogo, half Daenerys,
And he's also a third Targaryen because
Yeah,
he's also the Mad King's kid.
That's a different one.
Yeah.
Pretty much, there's a Mad King is actually the dad theory for everybody in that age group.
I am confused and horrified.
I thought you were going to say
In a good way.
different.
In a good way. In a good way, though.
I'm confused and horny.
But yeah, you'd rather be
Oh my
more
goodness.
self-contained, Rob.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'd like it to be its own thing. It's already, who knows? Like they're just flat out using the theme, the same kind of looking thing. I like the rivers filled with blood and stuff like that. I enjoyed that.
I didn't
You
like
actually
it.
do like that? A lot of people don't like it.
Yeah, sure, it's good.
I like it. I didn't like when we went under the blood. I was like, I'm uncomfortable now.
I like the idea. I don't like how it looks. Because
Those
I don't
symbols-
like the
those
idea of it
symbols on the
following
thing,
the blood, like, because it's all about blood of the dragon. It's literally
Right.
following the family tree, but it's really hard to follow.
Yeah. I think they
Like-
need to make the sigils a little bit more pronounced.
That's what I was gonna say. Like those symbols on those gold symbols or whatever. Do they mean specific houses or anything
They're
like that?
mean specific people.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like
Alright.
one of them's the crown and stuff, and then I think you see a high tower in there.
So at
Yeah, it
some
starts
point
with the Doom of Valyria and it goes all the way to now.
when I start recognizing the stuff or whatever, is it gonna be like Game of Thrones maybe, where this is where they're gonna be who
No.
they're gonna focus on and stuff like that? Like when you
No.
see like the tree goes up,
So
where they're gonna be in
I would
Game of
like that,
Thrones.
but
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I kind of like that because it gave away where we were going to be in the episode. If, like, out of nowhere, it's like, wait, why are we headed this way? Oh, we're seeing the Iron Islands. Oh, they're finally going to bring us back to the Iron Islands?
But
Cool.
they, like
I
that's
remember-
just TV.
Watching the
Like-
show with my buddy, and he read the books. Like we started watching the show for the first 2 seasons, and he said, "Fuck it, I got to read all the books." So he reads all the books.
So my
And
wife
then
did, yeah.
when the first time they showed Dorne, he like marked out or whatever. It's like, fuck yes, Dorne. And I was like, okay, great. I don't know what that is.
And the
Ugh.
second time they showed Dorne, he's like, they're ruining it.
Yeah.
Those bastards!
Oh my god, they literally murdered the plot. They murdered the Dorne storyline. They literally
Where's
killed it.
Dark Star?
Oh
The
my
most
god, I would
emo
love
man
that.
in the Seven Kingdoms.
The edgiest
Wow.
of all the edgelords, Darkstar. He literally
Right.
has the line, "I am of the night." He says that to someone.
Oh, brother.
I
He would
know.
be my least favorite.
I am of the
Nobody's
night.
ever accused George R. R. Martin of being good at
writes
dialogue.
Dialogue. He's
Poems
pretty
in
good at dialogue.
graveyards.
He's
Oh my
very
God.
good at describing food, not so much
Food descriptions. There's a different chapter.
Yeah.
And, like even when like Arya is lost in the Riverlands and he's like she's foraging for food and finds a worm. The worm is very juicy. It's like we're getting a food description right now, George. Move on.
That's why the books are taking too long. He has to investigate how food tastes.
How is lamprey pie? Good.
Taco, we're gonna have to have
Savory.
you on more to talk
Savory.
about House of the Dragon.
I'm here, dude. I was any other channel that I know the people who are running it. Whenever I see them talking about House of Dragon, I was like, I didn't get that DM. All right, a
Oh,
little mad,
boy.
a little mad about it.
Hey, man.
I would love to talk about it.
You know, we are probably gonna be talking about House of the Dragon every week, and we are down one Dan. So
I am not worth a Dan, regardless of what he feels
Aw.
about
No.
certain Disney properties. You don't even want to know how I feel about Disney.
That's definitely a green room conversation.
I was going to say very, very positive. You think very positive and highly.
I think, personally, I welcome our new mouse overlords with open arms.
Oh, a certain mouse. I get it now.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Dan has always been a conspiracy theorist. Remember the
I got
Schmominati poster behind him for like 2 years?
Yeah, you got.
Yeah. All right. Well,
That's
sorry.
what you get.
Poor one.
Taco, an absolute pleasure having you back on the show. First returning guest. First one ever to say, yeah, fine, I'll hang out with you guys again.
I missed you guys. I especially miss Snark, and I want to say this for everybody to hear. You haven't been asked onto my channel specifically because I either need somebody who's a Star Wars expert, which I know you would say you are not, and you still refer to all green aliens as the Greedo race.
Yeah.
Not a joke. That's not a joke. I know. And also when I do Geek Gauntlets, I'm like, all right, who has a vast history or vast knowledge of like all the different realms of pop culture? And I'm like, God, I wish Snark did. I would love to have you on.
No,
If you wanted to, if you want to, I will give you the list earlier, and you can do all the research because I would love to have you on.
And after
'Cause
my
I love
last
you.
appearance, he's never going to invite me back again.
I was in the
10
chat
rounds
for
of-
that. I was in the chat for that.
10
I thought it was
rounds.
Pretty funny. Yeah, that was good. That was fun.
That dude came
Oh,
back
yeah,
with a
I would-
vengeance in the next game he came.
I know.
He didn't give a point up. He would not let.
I would be brutalized in all of those things. I can tell you that. If it was like there was more like Buffy the Vampire Slayer stuff, maybe I'd be able to hang.
Buffy
in there.
was in the Geek Gauntlet.
Now, can I,
She just for me. She just
similar to the
she died,
Survivor,
she died twice and still came back.
Good point.
we're going to wrap up in just 2 seconds.
I
But
don't wanna talk
similar
about
to the
Survivor.
Survivor, no, we're not going to talk about Survivor. But similar to how when we did the Survivor draft with Dustin, I did not in any way ask anyone if this was okay. I just said it out loud, and that became a thing. For the season finale of House of the Dragon, you know, the Schmodown's ending.
Sure. I've heard it.
Online trivia, a vacuum needs to be filled. I would love,
Not by us.
not by us, but I think for House of the Dragon, we do a special Game of Thrones trivia match on this channel. With we get some great people in, and that's what I'm saying. I'm just throwing that out now. If people would,
I'm really bad at trivia.
I can read the questions. I can read the questions.
yeah, Snark, me and you, I've read all. You'll
yeah.
do color commentary.
Okay, I'd be fine with that.
I was gonna ask. if
I don't
can't-
have to pronounce
I don't
any
want to be a
names.
player. I can know something 100%, but the second it's asked to me in a trivia way, I just don't do it. I don't have that type of pull.
Yeah, like which twins is it?
Oh boy.
I know which ones. I just didn't know which ones you're referring to. Do I know them all? They're all like Flana, Maina, and Rhaena, and Taina, and Blaina Targaryen.
Yeah.
And
Donner and Blitz.
Anyway,
Donner.
I'm just saying we should
Donner
look
and
into doing something like
Schwanner.
that for the end of House
I'm
of the
down.
Dragon.
We'll see.
Fantastic. Fantastic. 2 months to go. Are you excited about the Lord of the Rings starting up?
Sure.
Rings of Power?
Never read them. I've never read the books, and I've never watched the movies more than twice, which is
Oh.
the bare minimum a human gets to.
I
So,
watched. the
I'm not
extended-
huge on that world.
I watch the extended editions every year, so I'm doing the Slack that Taco has. Speaking
Yeah,
of
thank
Slack that Taco has, where can people find you online?
Something to talk about is the name of my YouTube channel, and we did talk about it earlier. I do have every Targaryen king tier list up, and it's actually doing really good. Soda from this channel is on it, and it's really good. And I'm working on, because the NFL's coming back, I am currently working on every NFL team's Pokemon type, and that will probably be up this weekend. and also finally we filmed the 3rd episode of our Pokemon tabletop role-playing game, and that will be coming out this Friday. We filmed it yesterday. That's what I got going on. Yeah, you didn't see that shit coming, did you?
Lots.
I did.
I want to. Okay, I'm gonna.
I wanna
I
know who
don't
the
know.
Ravens
I don't
are.
know. Yeah, I was gonna say. I'm gonna guess the Lions. I think the Lions are probably. I don't know any of the Pokemon.
Steel. Steel type because of the Motor City.
Oh, I was thinking a specific.
No,
guy,
not a specific
like
Pokemon,
like
just
a
type.
Pikachu, like a
No.
Pikachu.
No, just their Pokemon typing. So like the Ravens are
Ooh.
flying dark.
Oh, that's easy.
Steel.
Yeah, you know how hard it was not to make Packers fairy type? It was very difficult, but I'm just gonna make them grass type and only piss people off.
Spoken like a Vikings fan.
Yeah, ice type.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess.
Canadian type.
Snark, we have tried to keep these shows to an hour long, and we've had Taco on for longer than an hour.
It's a special episode.
This is a very special.
I thought you guys do 2 hours. That's why I was like, yeah, let's wrap up.
When I took over for Dan, it was like we're gonna keep it around an hour.
Yeah.
But I knew what I was.
long.
But I was.
Yeah.
I knew what I was doing when I asked.
This is
Taco.
I
as
remember
much visiting as
An hour in, it would be like, all right, so Survivor, and I'm like, and I would shut it off, and then an hour and a half later, I'd see you guys are still alive. I'm like, what's going on over there?
But Snark, where can people find you?
You can find me at Snark Yeti on Twitter. Of course, that's only if you want to see the kind of things I like on Twitter. Not like I'm very proficient at anything social media-y. You'll find me boning up on all the Star Wars guys, especially the, what is it, Jabba the Hutt? Jabba the Hutts. I'm gonna know all about them pretty soon. I gotta expand my Star Wars horizons. So all the Jabbas.
He knows all about Rada the Hutt.
Yes, I also know about Hammerhead and what is it, Walrus?
Ithorians?
Yes, the Walrus Man. I know that guy.
Oh, okay, all right.
The Jawas. All the Jawas are pretty good.
The Jawas. It's Jawa the Hutt.
Jawa the Hutt. He's the big fat one with the lights for his eyes. I like him. Anyways, you can find me doing that. You can find me. I do a lot of stuff with Let's Get Ready Network. I have a podcast about the English Premier League called The Starting 11. I do with our buddy Adelia. But mostly, you'll find me right here in Quotation every Tuesday because we're so proficient at this.
I got the vid, man.
Have you seen
Calm
this?
down.
Yeah. Again. But he's much better now.
I am.
Dave, are you gonna be sick? Are you gonna be okay? Are we gonna make it? Jesus Christ!
Oh, Rob, I'm not feeling so well.
It's like a weird turn.
What's happened to the water?
Strange.
I poisoned him.
Oh, jeez.
I'm kidding. I didn't know how to respond to that.
Questions are being answered this week. And have you seen this? Maybe you'll see me next week. Well, you'll probably see me. The other guys, who knows? Taco, great to see you. Continue good luck on your shows.
Thank you.
Especially the Star Wars ones. Because I find
you watch them though, like
yeah, I find them interesting to watch. It's like, oh, I know who you're talking about. Eventually, I'll figure it out. I did good.
You do the best comments. I love your comments. Maybe not the best. I have really good commenters. All right, I shouldn't have said that.
That's
you do
true.
good in the comments.
What a monster! What a monster! Anyways, until next week. A bientôt et au revoir.